how to become a shadow, right? That's what I want to talk about. 5 rules, that's the important part here. We're going to talk about 5 rules on how you can become a shadow. 5 techniques on how you can remain invisible. You can move through the crowd undetected. There are different modern terms that people use nowadays because survival's a big thing now, prepping's kind of a big thing, especially with this big emergence with all the things going on socially right now in many different countries, especially here in the United States. So they use terms like the gray man theory. So gray man theory is to be able to move throughout the crowd undetected, unseen, you don't stick out, and in case some sort of civil unrest happens or an emergency situation or something, just, you know, something like that, right? So this something happens, you have the tools needed to protect yourself, the ones you love, to survive, to escape danger, but nobody knows that you're that person. That's the gray man theory in a nutshell, right? Now, let's be real here. The ninja, which we're a school of traditional ninjutsu, that's what we teach. The ninja was known for being able to go into a crowd undetected, unseen, don't leave a trace. They are a shadow. Do you catch what I mean? So that's the point where I want to talk about today, because we do live in an age where so we could argue that some agencies or people in power kind of overreach a little bit much with all the electrical devices that all have to be connected to the internet. Everything has facial recognition, or put your thumb on there and thumb recognition. I mean, you know what I mean? Stealth becomes much harder and harder because of the time that we live. So today I wanted to talk about the 5 things you need to do to remain invisible, to become a shadow, in case civil unrest happens, in case an emergency situation happens. You never know when you have to leave where you are and get from A to B without being seen. Traditionally, ninjutsu, in the world of traditional ninjutsu, specifically Tomoryu, there's a particular philosophy called Kage no Kamae, which means shadow posture. And you know, you're a black belt, and you know it. You know, we've talked about this kind of thing and all that kind of thing. But Kage no Kamae is basically blending in, right? If everyone's wearing a red shirt, you wear a red shirt. Everyone wearing yellow boots, you wear yellow boots. If everyone's bouncing on one leg, you bounce on one leg. The point is that you have to blend into your surroundings. And this traditional concept within Koryu Ninjutsu, right, or the old classical method of ninjutsu, is still prevalent today. You've got to be able to blend in. The general use of ninja were spies. And their job was to go get information and get it back to the Lord. And if they could do that without anyone knowing that they did it, that's the perfect mission, right? You don't leave a trace, you don't leave a footprint, no one knows you did it, right? But to do that, you got to really blend into your surroundings. You got to be so normal, no one picked you out as a spy. Now, we've all seen movies like, I'm sure you guys have all seen them, the Jason Bourne movies. Mm-hmm. The government knows who Jason Bourne is in those movies, right? But shit, people around him, he's just walking through the crowd, you know, he's got his little hoodie on, and he looks the part. He looks like everybody else in the area. He's not running down the town with all tactical gear on. He's got his sidearm here, running around with this, and got his big old army backpack on, and you know what I mean? He's not sticking out, right? Same thing. I'm a huge James Bond 007 fan. You guys seen James Bond movies? Yeah, good. Same thing. Of course, he don't have that same look as Jason Bourne. Bourne got the jeans, you know, the hoodie zipped up, you know, walking through the crowd, looking all normal for that area. Bond is a little different. He's got the suit, you know what I mean, that kind of thing, drinking a martini, but Bond usually hangs with a different crowd. So when you see the James Bond movies, he's hanging out with a different, higher crowd, socially, a little higher up on the social level. Do you catch what I mean? Yeah. Always at the bar, talking to certain people, you know, that kind of thing. Having his, dry martini? Yep. Shaken, not stirred, something like that. But anyway, he fits into that area, right? Perfect example, right? So when you look at classical ninjutsu, and we're going to get to these 5 rules, the 5 things that you guys got to do to pull this off, right? And these 5 rules of becoming a shadow, all these 5 rules specifically are found on scrolls. Now they don't actually list them as do this, do this, do this, do this. That's not how the scrolls are written. But I've been teaching ninjutsu professionally for almost 20 years. I have scrolls, I inherited scrolls. I research scrolls, I collect scrolls, and when I look at all the scrolls, it really comes down to these same 5 principles that you need to do to become invisible. to be a shadow. And these same principles are still used in the modern day. So the 5 things that you got to do, number 1, above all, we're going to call it baseline. Okay? You have to make sure that you understand the baseline. What does that mean? That means you need to know the area of which you're going. You need to understand how many people, how fast they move, how many houses, how many people are moving around a certain area. You need to know the area, how people talk, how they communicate, how they behave. You need to know the area you're going. If you're going to go to a wilderness area where it's, out in the middle of nowhere, they're going to behave much different than, say, an urban environment. You go to New York City. Do you catch what I mean? So the first thing is you have to make sure you understand your baseline. You have to know where you're going, how they act, how they move, how they dress, how they behave. You need to know, we call that the baseline. That's the baseline information. You need to have a strong base. Number 2, you have to blend in. Now we're going to specifically mean blend in with clothing. Clothing has to be so neutral that it doesn't stick out. Don't begin wearing things that are like vibrant colors, hot pinks, hot greens, bright yellows. Don't wear flashy jewelry looking like Mr. T. Don't have your hair like, see the Karate Kid thing, Hawk with his hair up and this spike and it's all red and you're going to stick out. There's just no way around that. You're going to stick out. You need to make sure that the clothing that you're wearing, the visual that they see, when you look down, if you're walking in an urban area and you're walking down the street and there's, hundreds of people shopping or walking down the street, don't be the one that sticks out. Be the one that blends in. So generally, the blacks, the grays, just a second, I want to talk about James Bond. If you're going to an executive meeting, everyone's wearing a 3-piece suit. Well, you walking in there with, gray cargo pants and a gray hoodie, you're going to stick out. It doesn't matter that you're wearing gray. You're sticking out. So again, it means you need to, baseline, know where you're going, and then fit into that. But also wear colors that's going to also fit in, that's going to help blend in so no one picks you out. Number 3, that's going to be stealth and concealment. This is a very, very important aspect to being able to do what you need to do when you need to do it. Wherever you go, why you need to be able to do this is for specific reasons. Civil unrest, emergency situations. Maybe you have other reasons that you want to move throughout a crowd and not be seen, right? Whatever this purpose is, there is a reason. And those reasons are very specific. And you're probably going to be needing tools, weapons, things like that to be able to carry out the objective of why you need to be a shadow, right? Civil unrest happens, survival situation, emergency happens. You need to have certain weapons. You need to have certain tools. Survival situation, you need to have certain tools. But you don't want people to know that you have those things for a variety of reasons. One, you don't want people to know what you got. That's why there's people walking around with the tactical gear and all this kind of stuff. It's just not smart. Did you catch what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But also, imagine something happens and you guys are in an area where there's 100 people. Violence happens really quick. Emergency situation. You need to evacuate. Things are going bad in a hurry. You're the one that's prepared. You're the one that got the tools to get the hell out of where you're going. You're the one that has maybe the weapons, the concealed weapons, concealed carry that you have to get you out from that situation. Nobody else does. Who do you think they're going to flock to so they can get out of Dodge quick too? Now it's not just you protecting you, now you got to deal with everybody else's ass. But it was their fault they weren't prepared to begin with. So if you're walking around like the tactical guy, looking like a G.I. Joe, everyone's going to naturally go crazy in an intense situation. And they're going to flock to wherever they feel is the best possible chance of survival. And if you're going to stick out as this authority figure, they're going to flock to you. If they see that you got those weapons and tools and the survivability, they're going to flock to you. You don't want that. You have a better chance of protecting yourself, your family, your group, small unit with what you're carrying and get out quickly. People don't need to know that you're carrying an EDC. People don't need to know that you're carrying a firearm. People don't need to know that you're carrying a goddamn edge weapon. People don't need to know that you have some sort of survival tools on you or self-defense tools when you're moving through the crowd. They don't need to know that. That's none of their damn business. Right? So that's number 3, stealth and concealment. Number 4, eye contact. This is important not just from the one way that everyone thinks it's supposed to be. Everyone believes eye contact to be this one thing. They think it's this. Okay, we're talking about this because if you look at me and I look at you, your brain has now recorded an image. So you don't make eye contact, right? But you also don't let other people see that you're making eye contact to certain things. An example, you walk up here to Kansas, we go up to the, everyone wants to go to certain malls and shopping centers and the outdoor stuff and all this kind of stuff up here in Kansas City, right? Kansas City barbecue, this and this and this, and everyone wants to see sights. We go all the time. And it's like, okay, yeah, we're gonna go over here, let's walk across the street, go get some food. Oh yeah, I need to go get a book, go over there and get that. We have a certain way of moving. Locals move in a certain area a certain way because they know the area. Locals go from A to B. Tourists don't. Tourists will stop and be like, look at that water fountain. Let me get a picture of that water fountain. That's pretty cool, isn't it? Click. Oh, look at that over there. That's pretty cool. Look at the big sign. Look at that big sign up there. Kansas City barbecue. Right? The Kansas City fountains, Kansas City this. They're going to stop because their eyes are making contact on certain things that locals don't. Locals don't pay attention to that shit. Locals go from A to B. If they're in the area, they probably work there, they're picking something up. They're just moving through the area. So if you are tracking someone, if you are following someone, your eye contact cannot be on the person that you're tracking. The eye contact cannot be on the person that you're following. And the person that you're following are people that may be following you. You can't stick out like a damn tourist and look at all the signs. That's pretty cool. Look at that. You can't do that. If you're stopping to read things, it needs to be things that other people are doing too. You know what I mean? Looking at your cell phone as you're walking through, this might be a thing too, because I can see that and I can use my peripherals to see you. I don't have to look at you. I can look at this and still use my peripherals. Do you catch what I'm saying? Or looking at a newspaper, when you got some paper out and you're just like, yep, okay. And you're looking at whatever this might be. Because if you're looking at things, then it helps you better understand, it helps me still use my peripherals and not look at you. So if you want to blend in, don't let people see that you're seeing them, and don't let people see what you're looking at, because you're giving away what you're doing. And number 5, we got behavior. Now, behavior is something that is very complicated, and it's such a generic word. It's not as specific as eye contact. Behavior. You got to act like you're supposed to act in that situation. Again, don't be a threat. If you're not a threat, you can move freely. You have the freedom to move around through the crowd and do whatever you need to do because no one sees you a threat. Right? So you need to behave accordingly. You need to understand the baseline. Walk like they walk. Are the locals walking slow like this, or are they walking fast? If the locals are walking fast, walk fast. If the local people wear certain things, wear certain things. You need to behave in the manner of which you need to behave to do what you need to do. But it's not just that. You don't only need to behave, you also have to behave to where you don't stick out, but you also have to behave in a manner to where you can't be tracked. We study Ninjutsu on the scrolls, and I want you to dress up like a beggar or a merchant or an actor or an entertainer or a Yamabushi monk or a Shuki monk or whatever the situation is. All the different disguises because they're blending into the environment. We talk about different tools of the ninja, the amigasa, the sanjaku tenegui, and all. What do you think they need an amigasa for? So they can hide their identity. That's what they're doing, put the damn thing down. Oh, they got the sanjaku tenegui. What for? Well, yeah, you could do water, filter water. You could do all these things with it. You also wrap it around your face like a mask. Right? Nowadays, you see all these people that are so pissed about, I'm not going to wear a mask. I'm not going to do that. Okay. Don't wear one then. And we're not going to talk about the pandemic stuff. If I don't wear this, there's no facial recognition. Right? Ninja knew that hundreds of years ago. You wear a mask, there's no facial recognition. They take the sanjaku tenegui, wrap it around their face, put the amigasa on their hat, tilt it down, you don't see them. So like if I wanted to be, if you wanted to walk through a crowd, imagine these masks, they're very socially acceptable nowadays, right? So if I've got this mask on and I'm walking through a crowd and I'm doing this and I got my little hoodie on and I'm doing this number, how is anybody around me going to see my identity? What camera is going to come and catch exactly who I am? You see what I mean? You can even take it a step further, wear freaking sunglasses, right? Now where do you think they're going to get? This is socially acceptable in the time that we live, to do this. So today that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to talk about the top 5 things, the 5 rules that you need to do to be a shadow in an environment. When you look at the classical ninjutsu from Japan, that's exactly what they did. They knew the area they were going to. They dressed in the way that they needed to dress. Like an example, traditional ninjutsu is kage no kamae, right? They used stealth and concealment to hide their weapons and tools when they got there. They didn't make eye contact, or they didn't stop around and look like a tourist, looking at all that. They blended into exactly what they wanted to do. They dressed like they needed to dress, whether it's a merchant or a beggar or a street performer or whatever, right? And then the behavior. They acted exactly like they needed to act, and they became exactly what they needed to become to do what they needed to do. And those 5 things are constant on all these historical ninja scrolls when you start looking at it. Of course, they don't list a scroll like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You start reading scrolls in historical text, it's like, yep, they did that. Yep, they did that. That one does that. That one does that. They all do that. You start putting it together. Do you know what I mean? So I just thought I would share that information with you guys. And